everyone. My name is Ebony Chambers, and I am Chief Family and Youth Partnership Officer with Stanford Sierra Youth and Families in Sacramento, California. I'm also a National Building Bridges Initiative consultant, and so excited to be here today with both Rob and Amy from the Cutchins Program for Children and Families. They're also with the Three Rivers Residential Program specifically, and Amy Breton comes to us as a family support coordinator, and Rob is the former director. And so today we're going to talk about critical strategies that are supportive to families in working with in their homes and communities. So Amy and Rob, if you can share some of the most critical practices and staff skills that are necessary for staff to work with families in their homes and communities.
One of the biggest things is being able to communicate with staff when they are going into the homes, and being able to prep that work ahead of time by sending a clinician or myself, someone in with a small checklist. Doesn't need to be like a survey, but to kind of just understand what the home looks like, and then being able to take that back to the staff and help them feel comfortable about the in-home work that they're going to be starting to do. And a piece of that is also getting to know the family a little bit, and then also being aware of your staff dynamic and figuring out what staff might be the ones better fit to go with a specific family versus another family. And I think just being able to lay that part of the groundwork helps staff become more excited, feel safer, and be able to communicate with them when they come back about what things that they've experienced once they are going into homes. And Rob, what about you?
Well, you know, in our field, people have been trained to think maybe psychodynamically, or even, let's say, you know, like what are the child's triggers, what are their skills, what are the family's, you know, coping strategies, and we ask those kind of questions. And there's nothing wrong with those questions, but what you learn in working, you know, in families is that the questions you ask are going to determine what you learn about and what you do. And you might want to ask different questions than that. For example, when we have people in homes, the kind of things we start discovering that don't come up in psychodynamic analysis or even skills analysis are like, is there a bully in the playground? Is the child's bedroom on the same floor as their parents' bedroom? Do they watch movies that have scary sounds in them while the child's trying to sleep? When his brother calls him names, how does the parent intervene? Does he feel protected? All that, those kind of things that people in homes working closely with families develop. I guess I would say you develop an antenna or sensitivity for those things that aren't traditionally in our field the kind of questions we ask. You know, where, you know, where's your bedroom compared to their bedroom? It isn't the first thing a therapist maybe is trained to ask. So learning to ask the kind of questions that where you could make sometimes a small difference in a family practice, like how do you guys sit around the kitchen table, or do you sit at the table when you eat? Do I have to walk through my brother's stuff to go get a glass of water because that really ticks him off? So those kind of things that aren't traditional psychotherapy become extraordinarily valuable little insights that can help families change stuff that can make a big difference. And so, you know, you can kind of meditate on what is the smallest thing we could change that would make the biggest difference, or what are these things that have become invisible to the family because they're just so used to them that might actually make a difference that I see with my fresh eyes. So that's not an easy training to just sort of deliver, but it's important to have the understanding that those kind of things can be powerful, and they may not be as intellectually satisfying as what we're trained to do, but they actually are what happens.
And I would just like to add to that, there was a family specifically that had no table. And our first reaction as staff going into that home would be like, well, they need a dining room table. However, learning what works for that family, and actually we actually felt at that point in time, it was a better fit for that family not to have a kitchen table. And it worked for them. And having that understanding was actually a really big positive enlightenment for a lot of us to understand that, you know, we don't always know better. Sometimes they do too. And be able to have that level of respect for them.
People doing the work are actual people, and not everybody can connect with everybody in there. I have staff who are uncomfortable with animals. I had a staff go into a family and they kept their chickens in the house, and he's sitting on the couch with a chicken on his shoulder. And he comes back and says, you know, that was really fun for me, but I can't send so-and-so into that home. They're not going to be able to enjoy that. Or smokers, you know, some people come back, oh my God, there's so much smoke. So you have to respect the caregiver side of it too, that if you really want this to work, you have to sort of respect what the caregiver's capacities are as individual people as well.
Thank you so much for sharing. It sounds like it's really important for us to be mindful of the family's culture, understanding the different dynamics as they operate in their home, and truly meeting them where they're at and viewing them as the expert. And then making sure that the staff understand those dynamics and also assess their comfort levels so that they can provide the best support possible as well. Thank you guys so much for sharing those strategies.